The White House coming under fire for how it's handled overtures to some Democratic candidates. They're accused of trying to get some of them to stay out of the way so that the candidates endorsed by the White House would have a clear shot at the primaries. The latest case comes from Colorado. A top White House official reached out to former Colorado House Speaker Andrew Romanoff to see if he'd be interested in an administration job instead of running against Senator Michael Bennet in the Democratic primary. Press Secretary Robert Gibbs defended the move in the briefing yesterday. Take a listen.
I think the leaders of parties have long had an interest in ensuring that supporters didn't run against each other in contested primaries. That's what was done in this case.
So let's hear from Andrew Romanoff himself, the Democratic candidate joining us live from Colorado. Good to see you, Speaker. You and the White House both contend that there was no offer, no actual job offer here. But the one email we've gotten that's been released from the White House Deputy Chief of Staff Jim Messina, it includes very specific descriptions of 3 different jobs. If that wasn't part of an offer, what was it?
I'm glad you asked that question, and let me lay out the facts. Last September, 2009, I received a call, as I said, from Jim Messina, the Deputy Chief of Staff. He informed me that the President would support my opponent in this race, Senator Bennet. I told Mr. Messina that I had decided to run for the Senate nonetheless. He told me that there might be positions available to me were I not pursuing the Senate race, and emailed me the descriptions of those jobs that you just mentioned. I told him that I would not change course. And that's the last time I talked with Mr. Messina or anyone else from the White House about this matter.
So if somebody did that to me and sent me that email, I most likely would perceive that potentially as an offer. These are the 3 things that are out there. I ask you again, why is that not part of a job offer, or at least the precursor to one?
Yeah, I want to speak clearly. And as I said in the statement that we released on Wednesday, Mr. Messina told me specifically that he could not guarantee my appointment to any of those positions. He did not promise me a job, and I did not seek his help in obtaining a job.
Did you find it inappropriate?
The job I am seeking is to represent. Well, I think it's the best thing I can do is to lay out the facts. And the job that I'm seeking, as I started to say, is to represent the people of Colorado in the United States Senate. Most of the folks, I will tell you, here in Colorado Springs and across the state want to know what I'm going to do to help them get a job, which I think the important issues that we ought to focus on in this campaign.
Yeah, I want to put up on the screen, this is from Kirsten Powers, who's a Fox News political analyst in her column today. She's also a Democrat, and this is what she wrote. Quote, "The White House's reasoning is migraine-inducing. It insists it didn't offer a job, but also that the president has an interest in influencing party primaries. But if the president wasn't offering a job, then what was he doing to prevent a primary contest? He was offering a job. Stop insulting our intelligence." So not everybody believes that there wasn't an offer being made there. How do you respond?
Well, a number of folks had an interest in preventing me from seeking this Senate seat. The National Democratic Party has made no secret of its distaste for this primary challenge that I am mounting, or for that matter, the primaries that are unfolding in Arkansas and the primary that occurred in Pennsylvania. It's pretty clear that the people of those states, just like the people of Colorado, want to make up their own minds, and I think that's appropriate. This decision rests not in Washington, but here in Colorado.
You know, I don't have to tell you that some lawyers look at this and say there's the potential that something actually was done here against the law. And it may depend on where Jim Messina was when he contacted you. Where was he, and was that a personal email? It's redacted on the email that was released. Was it a professional email? What can you tell us about the communications?
Sure. The email itself came from the White House account. I can't tell you where Mr. Messina was at the time of the conversation we had. I can tell you that the conversation we had made no difference to me in my decision to seek this seat. I'm running because I believe the Senate of the United States is not fulfilling the interests of ordinary Coloradans or ordinary Americans. It has been hijacked by the special interests that subsidize Senate campaigns. And that's a big problem, and it's one I aim to fix.
Speaker, where were you when you received the conversations? Were you at home in the state of Colorado?
Yes, I was in Denver, where I live.
Even if the law hasn't been violated, and some would say the fact that he was using his political email to do this, there is the possibility it could have been. Critics still are not comfortable with this pattern of wanting to control the White House, seemingly anyway, wanting to control who wins, basically denying the voters a choice. Are you comfortable with that?
Well, let me say a few things, and I'm glad you asked that question. I respect the president. I support the president. I look forward to working with the president when I'm elected to the U.S. Senate. With all due respect, I will say this. Decisions like who ought to represent a state like ours in the U.S. Senate should be made by the people of Colorado and will be made by the people of Colorado. The good news is, despite the avalanche of corporate cash that's flowed into our opponent's campaign from insurance companies and drug companies and big Wall Street banks, we're winning. We won the state convention just 2 weeks ago by 21 points. That tells me that a lot of Coloradans are intent on changing the way Congress works, and so am I.
With these conversations, Speaker, is it possible in your mind that a law may have been violated here? And if your answer is no, what's the defense?
You know, the best thing for me to do, I believe, is to lay out the facts, and that's exactly what I've done. Mr. Messina indicated, as I said earlier, that 3 positions might be available to me were I not pursuing the Senate race. I told him that I would not change course, reiterated my commitment to run for the Senate. That's where I am right now and what I intend to do.
And you were comfortable with those conversations you had with him. And first of all, were they all on email?
We had one conversation, and he sent me one email.
And you're comfortable with that email, that no laws were broken, that everything was on the up and up there?
Well, as I said, Mr. Messina's conversation or overture to me made no difference in my decision to run. What I am comfortable and confident in telling you is we will win this race by appealing to ordinary Coloradans and putting their interests front and center. That's why we're here in Colorado Springs, by the way, to learn more about a program to provide care for elderly and disabled Coloradans. Success stories like these deserve, I hope, at least as much attention in the national press, and I hope that we'll be able to capture that attention over the next 5 months, too.
Andrew Romanoff, Democratic candidate for the U.S. Senate out of the state of Colorado. We appreciate your time today. Thanks.
Thank you very much.